details of these and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Remember, we're live on DSTV channel 279 and also on Facebook, TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from agriculture, because the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champon, has justified $12 million paid for preliminary works for the construction of the Polugu multipurpose dam by government. Government has come under severe criticism over what has been described as payment for no work done at the site for the dam construction. The Agric Minister says the amount paid is a portion of the total cost of the construction. Take a listen.
First of all, the Polugu scheme, both the electricity generation and the dam. The electricity generation must be constructed before the downstream irrigation schemes must be done. Okay, so you build the Akosomo, you regulate the water, and then the lowlands, you create the irrigation scheme. Now, in building these things, which cost about $1 billion or so US dollars, okay, the irrigation component of it costs, I think, north about $200-300 million odd dollars. Now, a big chunk of them, of that amount, goes into preliminaries, design works, investigate, all the academic exercises that must be done before you actually go on field, setting up site camps, doing all kinds of things. And I think you've seen the aerial image of the Polugu Dam. These are the things that cost that $11 million. So if you look in the contract, in fact, we're supposed to have paid them about $56 or so million. All the IPCs that they have brought, all the designs that they have submitted, all the houses that they have built around it, the camps that they have set up. And when I say camp, I'm not talking about a tent camp. They've built a whole city, okay, that they were going to live in to do the construction of the project. This is what costs that money. And they brought a bank guarantee.
Well, you can get the full interview when you visit our website, is 3news.com. And now the 2022 batch of doctors of pharmacy have begun processes to sue government over delay in payment of their one-year unpaid allowances. The officers at a media briefing reiterated their demands, noting that they have already notified the Attorney General. Meanwhile, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, during his encounter with the media on Sunday, promised to look into the matter.
Their roles are essential in ensuring that patients receive the highest standard of care, which directly impacts the health and well-being of our communities. However, despite successfully completing this phase, the allowances have not been paid. For over a year now, the doctors of pharmacy, numbering 320, are yet to receive financial clearance for their payment, despite the numerous repeated engagements with relevant authorities. A development they claim has brought undue hardships to them.
This is not only a financial issue, but it is a matter of human dignity. We are talking about young professionals who have dedicated their lives to the health and well-being of others, now being pushed to the brink of despair. How are we to care for the health of our patients when we are struggling to maintain our own well-being? The emotional and psychological toll of this prolonged uncertainty is immense. We entered this profession with hearts full of hope and dedication, but now we face the grim reality of being neglected by the system we have sworn to serve.
The Vice President, during his media engagement on Sunday, August 25, promised to take the matter up when it was brought to his attention.
We are talking about 322 pharmaceutical doctors who are threatening to sue the Ministry of Health for their allowances. Again, I want to take this one up. This is the first time I'm hearing about this particular issue. I'm not aware of it, but I think it's an important issue that we should really resolve.
But the doctors of pharmacy say they won't take chances while waiting upon the Vice President to intervene.
We are glad that the Vice President has expressed commitment to intervene and resolve the situation. We hope to hear from you soon so that we can bring an end to this long-standing impasse. We've served the Attorney General with a letter, and we're expecting a feedback in. Then we gave within 30 days, and today marks the 7th day, so we have 23 more days to go. So a lawsuit is in progress. If every other processes fail for engagement.
Well, this is your election command center. The Electoral Commission's voter exhibition exercise has come to an end, recording low numbers across the country. My colleague Ikea Ofori-Adako has the rest of the story.
The turnout of the voter exhibition exercise was less than impressive, raising concerns about possible voter apathy and the implications for future elections. At the Lankwantanan cluster of schools, there were 10 exhibition areas, and according to a polling official at the center, Cecil Fonipo, the low turnout of voters is very significant as compared to previous years.
The factors that brought more low turnout at the code that I'm used for people to check their names. Two, the publicity that I would say is not much. And three, the people's attitude towards the election, because they say whether they do it and vote, nothing good comes out of it.
One of the exhibition centers, the Medina No. 1 cluster of schools, also recorded low turnout during the one-week process. A polling official, Agnes Domo, attributed the trend to various factors, including the introduction of the short code enabling voters to remotely verify their details.
I believe some of them are checking online. Maybe that is why they are not on. So maybe we recommend that next time the publicity should be known than what they did this time around. People are passing by and they are asking what we are doing here.
An eligible voter, Alexander TV, said although he had an issue with his registration, it was corrected during the verification process.
I did it here the first time, the previous day we voted 2020. So I came here and they said my number, they moved to a different place and they showed me the place. I went there. So today, as I'm coming, I went there straight forward to check it and I saw my own.
The voters exhibition exercise began on Tuesday, August 20 to 27 to enable voters to verify their details in the register for the December 7 general election. Ekofri Wadako, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, if you just tuned in, you're watching the first bulletin of the day on TV3 right here on New Day. In more news this morning, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, is promising to increase the salaries of security personnel as it promises to improve the livelihoods of workers within the health, education and security sectors. The party, while unpacking its 2024 manifesto, said it will invest heavily in increasing infrastructure within these sectors to facilitate development.
Sectorial spokespersons, while unpacking the 2024 manifesto of the NDC, highlighted key areas they aim to improve or introduce if they win power in 2024. Starting with education, Dr. Clement Opak, the MP for Bilsa South, expressed concerns over the declining levels of education, including issues related to access and quality.
Under the Akufo-Addo MPP government, the education sector has suffered neglect and severe distortions. The next NDC government will comprehensively reset our educational system in collaboration with all stakeholders. Our goal is to aggressively expand infrastructure, enhance teacher welfare and professional development, and increase investment in the sector for quality outcomes.
Dr. Park emphasized the party's commitment to enhancing education through several measures. Now, these include increasing infrastructure, streamlining scholarships, and reviewing the computerized school placement system, among other initiatives.
We will introduce legislation to usher in a new era of government scholarship administration, which would prohibit the award of scholarships to government officials and streamline scholarships across multiple sectors to do away with the current uncoordinated and indeed corrupt regime. We will review the computerized school selection and placement system to address the corruption in the school placement and make sure that students are placed based on merit.
Then came Dr. Titus Bayo, the NDC parliamentary candidate for Lambuisi. The spokesperson on health also was concerned about the challenges within the health sector, including brain drain.
Currently, our health sector is bedeviled with serious human resource challenges, such as the mass exodus of our experienced human resources. Another issue is unemployed graduates from our various health training institutions and a quota system in the admission into these training institutions.
Now, on health financing, Dr. Bayo noted the NDC administration intends to uncap the National Health Insurance Scheme, implement the Mahama Care Initiative to cover critical non-communicable diseases, amongst others.
We will uncap the National Health Insurance Scheme. His Excellency and the NDC also propose to establish the Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund, which we call Mahama Cares, to support the cost of health care for persons with chronic conditions, and they are the leading burden of disease mortality in this country and the leading cause of morbidity and mortality.
Still on health, improving health infrastructure also took center stage.
The next administration intends to expand the healthcare infrastructure to restore prompt employment and timely deployment of healthcare workers. We intend to construct a 500-bed specialist hospital, children's hospital, and a fertility center in Accra. Refurbish the Kolebu Teaching Hospital as an additional ultra-modern quaternary specialist hospital. Refurbish the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital to meet the standards of an ultra-modern teaching hospital.
Finally was security, where issues on improving the conditions of security officers were mentioned. Now, increasing security presence, mainly for the effective implementation of the party's 24-hour economy, was also key. The security spokesperson, Peter Tobu, also highlighted the importance of changing from the Ghana Prison Service to the Ghana Correctional Service.
We are changing the philosophy of the prison service. That from 2025, when we put people, when we convict people, we are going to send them to correctional centers and not prisons. I don't want anybody in Ghana to go to a prison again. I want everybody to go to a correctional center. We will send you to go and be corrected, to go and be reformed, so that we don't fight.
Let's still stay in the camp of the NDC because Ed flag bearer John Dramani Mahama has questioned the commitment of the NPP flag bearer to the economic records of his own government, chastising him for disowning President Akufo-Addo's budget. John Dramani Mahama has been speaking on day one of his two-day Greater Accra campaign. Here's a report by my colleague, Komla Kluche.
A media encounter by the NPP flag bearer ran down in the words of John Mahama.
You know, the intention for doing that media encounter the next day after we had announced our manifesto was to turn the attentions of Ghanaians from the NDC manifesto. That was the main reason that they decided to do a media encounter the very next day after we launched our manifesto. But you see, when you do something with devious intention, it backfires on you. If there are people who are smooth talkers, who can speak rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta like machine gun, the time when they become stammerers and they start stammering, you know they are lying. Somebody who can speak ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta like AK-47, suddenly media encounter, I think,
Dr. Bawumia's briefing on the state of affairs in the country as the head of the economic management team is further questioned.
He said something that when the budget is presented, whose name is on it? It's the president's name. It's not my name. This is the first time I've seen a vice president running away from his president's track record. Government is a continuum. Government is a whole. Government is a collective. And what we have in democratic government is collective responsibility. You all take collective responsibility for what happened. I was the head of the economic management team under Professor Mills. When the budget was going to Parliament, the budget was in the name of Professor Mills. But I never ever disowned Professor Mills's budget. Because the budget comes to cabinet, we all argue and decide what the budget should be before it goes to Parliament.
Both the NDC and NPP launched their manifestos, but the NDC says a ploy to court disaffection for them was deployed by the ruling government. Day one of the tour in the swing region of Greater Accra took the flag bearer of the NDC to Ada, Sege Ashaman, among others. John Mahama is assuring the region of its equal share of the national cake should he get the nod to serve his final 4-year non-renewable term. From Black Luchen, TV3 News, China.
We are Election Command Center. Stick with us for anything related to elections. Away from that, the Asante Hino Tumfo Setu II has distilled the Jasehene, Bemuhene, and Chiamehene of Sabronum for superintendent over illegal mining, locally referred to as Galamsey. This was after the overlord of the Asanteman conducted a thorough investigation and found the chiefs guilty.
The youth and some elders of Sabronum on Monday, August 19, 2024, presented a petition to the Asantene to investigate and bring to book the people behind the emergence of illegal mining in the community, as they suspected the involvement of some traditional leaders. Galamsey is gradually killing us here at Sabronum. Our water bodies are being destroyed. Some of the community leaders are involved in the illegal activity. We now have to buy water to drink when we go to our farms.
Yes, we are quite gratis. Tonsio near Nom Namsa Galamseno and Penyon Mufa na Edi Galamseno and him now more Juhusika Edian.
Because most of our leaders are behind the Galamsey, they don't want us to wage war against the menace. But for the love we have for our community, we the youth have decided to use every means possible to protect our land. After conducting his investigation, the Asantene on Monday, August 26, ruled that the 3 traditional leaders who have been entrusted with the task of taking care of Sabronum be relieved of their traditional duties for engaging in illegal mining.
You've been
asked to take care of the community, but you failed. I've been informed about your involvement in the illegal mining for a long time. The report I have has your names in it. If I allow you to hold on to your positions, you will destroy the community. If the DC has not been able to arrest you, I'll personally cause your arrest if you leave here today and still continue with the illegality. Because of your selfish interests, women in your community are struggling to get potable water. Effective today, you've been distilled. More chiefs in other Galamsey-prone communities are expected to suffer from the same fate in the days to come. This is to deter traditional authorities from having a hand in the destruction of the same community they have been tasked to protect, and also to help in the fight against Galamsey. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
And now, Cocoa Board, in collaboration with National Security, has intercepted a fuel tanker with some 178 bags of smuggled cocoa beans, valued at over 360,000 cedis. The intention by the 3 arrested persons was to smuggle the beans to neighboring country, Togo. I spoke to the Director of Special Services and head of the anti-smuggling unit of Cocoa Board, Charles Amenyoglu. Smuggling is a practice Cocoa Board does not take lightly, as it erodes all gains made in improving the sector. It has been one of the major challenges bedeviling the growth of the sector, aside some climate-related shortfalls. A recent attempt by some 3 persons to smuggle cocoa beans to Togo has been foiled by Cocoa Board in collaboration with National Security. Fuel tanker meant for hauling petroleum product was used for the heinous act.
The minimum punishment is 5 years. The maximum is 10 years. It does not admit to a fine. And so, even if you have sufficient money, you cannot be fined by a court. Even if the judge wants to help you, his hands are tied. He cannot do it. And so, anybody who wants to buy cocoa should rather come to Cocoa Board, apply to Cocoa Board, and go through the process. Otherwise, your cocoa will be confiscated you'll be prosecuted and sentenced, and then your truck or whatever you are using may be forfeited to the state.
Cocoa Board has vowed to crack the whip to ensure sanity prevails in the sector.
Cocoa Board and national security and other operatives, we are firmly on the ground. Disguise the cocoa in some other way, we'll manage to get you. People put them in boxes and cover them with some other items, we get them. People put them in jerry cans, we get them. They put them in buckets, paint buckets, we get them. They put them in tipper troughs and cover them with chippings, we get them. They put them in tankers, now we have gotten them. So they should stop.
Cocoa Board has also identified areas, including Suhum, Kede, Asamankese as the hub of cocoa bean smuggling.
Charles Amenyaglo is the Director of Special Services and Head of the Anti-Smuggling Task Force at Cocoa Board. That's how we end the morning news. For more news updates, just log on to our website, it's 3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Have a good morning.